Hey everyone, I was not expecting to do another video so soon, but this one is definitely going to be shorter because I'm much more busy today. Long story short, like I said in my last video, all of us have been sick, and to different degrees and everything. Well, last night around 10:30 p.m., my mom had to go to the ER because she was kind of out of it and not making any sense and had such a painful headache, and everything was disrupting her focus and normal cognitive behavior and everything. She wasn't like behaving bad, but she just couldn't like form sentences and stuff really well. We thought that she had a mini stroke, but she didn't. So far all of her tests came back good, and that it just looks like she has a mild infection of some kind that they're trying to pinpoint. And she'll most likely be able to come home maybe Saturday. She's doing better now than she was originally. But I want to get on here because, like I've made it clear, I'm all about honesty and accountability, which was the title of my last video. And I want to be held accountable, and I really want to grow in the Lord and own up to my sins and stuff, and not be self-righteous or justify my sins. And what I wanted to talk about this time was pride, because in my other video, like I said, I tend to be selfish when I'm sick and tired and everything. Well, I noticed today, let's see if the dog makes any noise. He's got some cardboard he's trying to play with. Flint, leave it alone. I've been thinking that, this new issue that I've been dealing with since last night when she went to the hospital, because I stayed with her they allowed me to go back around like 10:45 or so. She actually went to the hospital, I think, yeah, it was before 10:30, but it was before 11 o'clock that, hold on, the dog's making noise. We're not playing with. Anyway, he's not happy. I just threw his toy out of the way. No. Hey, go lay down. Flip, lay down. We'll see if he keeps barking. But anyway, what I was saying is, I stayed with her from about 11 till 11:30 this morning. So I was with her for about 12 and a half hours, staying up and everything at the hospital, helping her and whatnot. And what I wanted to do this video about was about taking pride in what the Lord, working in and through you, enables you to accomplish and calls you to accomplish for His glory and the blessings of others, versus being prideful about what you've done and how you're doing it, and you do so much for so and so, and you can handle so much, whatever the case is. Because I find myself tiptoeing that fine line between taking pride that by God's grace I'm able to be allowed to be with my mom, help her at the hospital, stay awake, stay with her. I can handle physically, mentally, and emotionally what's going on and everything, and then be like, wow, I'm handling this really well, and wow, I stayed here for 12 straight hours and I haven't slept, and so on. And there's just a fine line between being thankful for what the Lord enables you to do and calls you to do in the hard stuff, and then being like, look at me, look how strong I am, look how tough I am. I haven't eaten in so many hours, and I haven't slept in so many hours, and aren't I so sacrificial? Aren't I so blah, 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 blah. And the Lord just kind of brought that to my mind, like, you're only able to do what you're doing because I enable you to do it and I call you to do it. And I could very easily take all that away, because there are other people like in the business corporate world, that they think that they got to the status they are and have all the money in their account and all their clientele and their big house and all their jewelry and $10,000 suits and custom made cars and whatever. They think they did all that by their own intelligence and hard work. And while they may have gone to school for that and they worked their way up and everything, and that's all true, none of their efforts would have amounted to a hill of beans had God not blessed their efforts. If He had not blessed them with the ability, physical, mental, emotional, whatever, to go to that school, to that college, get the good grades, get hooked up with the right people, land that job to work their way up, etc. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, look at me and the empire I've built for myself, kind of like the story of Nebuchadnezzar and the story in the book of Daniel. And he said, look at my kingdom that I have built by my hands for my honor and my glory and my might and blah, 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 blah. And it was all about him. And the Lord punished him for that. He said, because you have refused to acknowledge that God is Lord and ruler of all, and He gives and takes away and raises up and brings down kings and rulers and gives them victories and whatnot, and takes victories away, because you have refused to acknowledge and give glory to God, He's going to strike you down, and you're going to spend, I think it was 7 years, as like a mindless beast. And He did. He I think they called it it's zoo something. It's an actual state of mind where a person acts like an animal. They crawl on their hands and knees, and their nails grow out because they don't clip them and stuff like that, and they forage and everything. It's a real mental disease. And anyway, God said, you're going to be in that state until you humble yourself enough to acknowledge that I am Lord of Lords, King of Kings, God of all gods, and you bring me honor and glory. And Nebuchadnezzar, thankfully, after 3 to 7 years, he did that. And we don't know for sure, but I like to think he's in heaven after that episode, because he started giving glory to God, and I think he started serving God faithfully. So anyway, like I don't believe there's anything wrong in taking pride in how the Lord has blessed you and what He's doing in and through you, but you shouldn't be proud, be prideful to where you're boasting about it and taking all the credit and being like, look what I can do, look what I did. If you're going to boast about it, then you need to boast in the Lord and be like, I was able to do this and that by God's grace because God allowed me to, He gave me the strength to stay awake and get all the chores done by myself, though I'm sick, because I was able to do a lot of chores when I got home, even though I hadn't slept in like 16 or so hours. And it's just, I'm very thankful that my anxiety disorder has gotten better. It just depends. Usually when I'm sick like this, my anxiety isn't too bad. So that's good. And I just went to the chiropractor yesterday, and so that's helped my body and everything. So I see the Lord through all of it, strengthening me and sustaining me. But like I said, there's a very fine line between taking pride in what you can do that another person maybe not be able to do, being thankful that you can physically or mentally, emotionally do something that another person just can't, and then boasting about it like, look at me, I'm so nice, I'm so humble, and I'm so tough, and the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. So you better keep your perspective in order and give honor and glory and praise and gratitude to who it's due, because we can't even take a breath without the Lord's permission. It's in Acts, the book of Acts, where I want to word it right, I'll have to look it up, but talks about the Lord allows every breath we take, or every breath we take is by his permission. It's worded some way like that. And, you know, I like that because me talking to you, every breath I take is he's allowing me. So like everything I do, every word I say, the breath I'm able to use to talk to you, that's his grace in that moment, every millisecond, over and over and over again, allowing me to talk, going on for 10 and a half minutes now in this video. And so, and that's the other thing, you know, try to see God in the little things, the things that we take for granted because they're everyday normal things, like just breathing. Because there are people with breathing problems like COPD, asthma, there's some other ones that have a hard time talking. You know, there's been times when my anxiety is so bad, I think it's called air hungry, and I can't even talk. I have to say a few words like this, and then take a deep breath, and then say like a few words again, and then like it'll take me a long time to finish a sentence. So anyway, I wanted to come on here and share because, like I said, this is my like weekly, sometimes daily video diary. So, and just, you know, talk about a little bit what's happened. We're all still sick, and then on top of that, besides my mom going to the ER last night, my dad had to be driven there by my brother-in-law because my dad has medical conditions that my mom helps him take care of, and he couldn't do it himself, and no one else besides my mom or a doctor can really do it, aside from like a nurse, you know, which because of this incident, we've now decided that we're going to have to look into getting an at-home nurse to come in once or twice a day, at least, I would say, to help Dad, because if we can't be in this situation again, because my dad had to go to the ER last night and get a temporary thing set up until Mom can come back home to help him. So the Lord's working things out in that way, but yeah, so it's just been, you know, my dad's resting. He's really sounding sick today because he's on day like four of his cold. Mom's sounding better. I'm sounding a little bit better, but we're all really tired. We're trying to push through. We're banding together like a good family should, helping each other out, but you know, it's easy to like step on each other's toes and, like I said, be prideful or like, I don't feel good, you know, and why did you make that mistake? You know, do I have to do everything? You know, it's just easy to make it all about you, or to nitpick about little things because you're already struggling and you're already stressed and overwhelmed. But that's where you got to keep praying in the midst of it and keep the Lord at the center of it, and don't get discouraged and don't lean on your own strength or understanding. Talk to you guys later.